Do you like to read seasonally? Well, if you do, I have a whole list of book recommendations for you of books that feel like summer. So if you're up for that, then stick around and let's get started. Hey everybody, welcome back to Relatively Refined. My name is Paula. Before we get started with those books that feel like summer, I have a couple of thank yous I'd like to make. First of all, I'd like to thank Miss Karen, who is a subscriber and someone who lives locally to me, who gifted me with the most precious glass insulators. She collects these and she knows that I enjoy them as well. And she works with my daughter, Neve. And so one day she handed a little package to Neve and said, "This is for your mom." And there was the most lovely card inside. So Miss Karen, thank you so much. I truly appreciate it. And these actually I'm going to use as bookends on my books that are stacked upstairs on the cabinet up there, and they will be perfect. Not only are they beautiful, but they're heavy, and they'll be sitting in a spot where the light will hit them and they will look absolutely gorgeous when the light shines through. So thank you so much, Miss Karen. I really appreciate it. I'd also like to thank our reviewer, Chris, who gifted me with this beautiful Susan Branch, Heart of the Home, Notes from a Vineyard Kitchen book. She wrote to me the most beautiful card and said that she had 2 copies and she knew I was looking for it and she thought I would enjoy this. And indeed, Chris, I do. I will absolutely treasure this and I cannot thank you enough. I'm very excited. So Miss Karen and Miss Chris, thank you so much for your thoughtful gifts. You did not have to do that. The beautiful cards that you wrote and just for thinking of me and brightening my day. I so appreciate it. All right, let's jump into some bookish content and talk about books that feel like summer. First up is Cold Comfort Farm by Stella Gibbons. This is a delightful book. It's a kind of witty parody. It follows the character Flora Post, who is a recently orphaned young woman, and she decides to go and live with some very quirky relatives who live on Cold Comfort Farm. And the book just follows the hilarious, experience that she has trying to bring some kind of modernization to the farm, all the while dealing with these kind of funny, quirky relatives of hers. It really is a delightful read. It's not very long. It only has about 200 pages, and it really is just a quick and fun summer read. You will enjoy this kind of witty British humor. It's just delightful, and I cannot recommend this enough. This is Cold Comfort Farm by Stella Gibbons. The next book I want to recommend is The Blue Castle by L.M. Montgomery. L.M. Montgomery is probably most well known for her Anne of Green Gables novels, and this novel as well is set in her beloved Canadian homeland. It follows the story of Valency Sterling, who is living with her rather oppressive family, until one day she gets a letter in the mail. And as a result of this letter, she decides it's time for her to start making her own decisions and living life the way she wants to. So it follows her as she breaks free of her family. She discovers freedoms and love and experiences like she's never known before, all the while set in the beautiful Canadian wildlife. It's just a lovely, lovely book that will capture your heart, I'm sure, just as it captured mine. The Blue Castle by L.M. Montgomery. Now, summer, in my opinion, is a time for reading lighthearted and funny books as well. And this next book is 3 Men in a Boat by Jerome K. Jerome. It is actually fully titled 3 Men in a Boat, to say nothing of the dog, which is the subtitle of the book. And it is exactly that. It is a hilarious story about 3 men and a dog who decide to take a boat ride down the River Thames. and they just get into all sorts of hijinks and situations, and it is written with such humor and so much fun. You won't be able to put it down. It is really such a fun book. It is along the lines of P.G. Woodhouse. So if you are a P.G. Woodhouse fan, you will probably really enjoy Three Men and a Boat by Jerome K. Jerome. It's just a perfect, lighthearted summer read. And what's more summery than getting in a boat and floating down the river with your dog? So Three Men in a Boat by Jerome K. Jerome is my next recommendation for books that feel like summer. My next recommendation is Green for Danger by Christiana Brand. This is a very gripping mystery that is set in an English hospital in the countryside during World War II. It is full of twists and turns, but in a nutshell, there are two deaths that occur relatively one after the other, very close together in the operating room at this hospital. And suspicion is cast upon the doctors and nurses of the hospital. It is such a good book. It is one of those books that you just can't stop reading, which is so perfect for a summer afternoon. You know, bring your glass of iced tea or lemonade outside, get under an umbrella, put on your sunglasses, and open up Green for Danger, and you will be there for hours. It's one of those books that you don't want to put down. I cannot recommend it highly enough. Green for Danger by Christiana Brand. Now, I mentioned P.G. Woodhouse before when I was talking about Three Men in a Boat, and so no summer would be complete without reading a P.G. Woodhouse book or two. I have right here Right Ho Jeeves and the Inimitable Jeeves. I love P.G. Woodhouse. I've talked about P.G. Woodhouse before. The books are so funny. They really are so farcical, and they kind of parody the British aristocracy. Jeeves is the manservant to Bertie Wooster, who is a member of the aristocracy, and Bertie is just kind of, a little bit flighty and foolish, and Jeeves is not. And Jeeves has very distinctive ideas about how things should go, and usually it's not the way they go with Bertie. But anyway, P.G. Woodhouse is just incredibly clever and so very funny. Everything that he's written that I've ever read, I have loved. And there's nothing better than sitting down with a laugh out loud novel. And these are short, as you can see. You can probably read them in one sitting. But anything by P.G. Woodhouse makes a great summer read. So I highly recommend that you get your hands on a couple of Jeeves novels, Jeeves and Bertie Wooster by P.G. Woodhouse, and sit down and just have a good laugh. You will absolutely enjoy these novels. I can almost guarantee it. Next up is Cranford by Elizabeth Gascal. This book was originally published in serialized form in the 1850s by the author. And it appeared in, let's see, what did it appear in? In a Charles Dickens magazine, Household Words, from 1851 to 1853. And then in 1853, it was turned into the book form. But it is basically the story of life in an English village, and in particular, the stories of spinsters and widows struggling in kind of genteel poverty to maintain their manners and, levels of propriety and decency. I, in particular, love books like this that are from a woman's perspective and share the struggles that women faced in different time periods. So this is a very short little novella. As I said, you could read it in little, short spurts because of the way it's written in serialized form. It actually makes it, easy to do that. Or you could just sit down by the pool one afternoon and pull out this book, and I'm sure that you could finish this in one sitting. Again, this is Cranford by Elizabeth Gascal. So if you want to, find out about life in a small English village in the 1850s, this is a wonderful way to read about it. I would also recommend to you Gift from the Sea by Anne Morrow Lindbergh. This is a wonderful short little book that is full of musings on love and sorrow, life and death, age and youth, all written by Miss Lindbergh during a brief vacation by the seaside. And it is just wonderful. The writing is beautiful. It's just something you can dip in and out of to get a little inspiration or some thought-provoking words to ponder throughout your day. I would suggest you could keep it on your bedside table and, read a few pages each night. It's just a wonderful, a true modern classic. And I don't think any library is complete without Gift from the Sea by Anne Morrow Lindbergh. And what is more summery than the seaside? Another book that makes a fabulous summer read is The Little Village of Book Lovers by Nina George. She is the author of The Little Paris Bookshop, which I have not read. I got this at a library book sale, and it is a fantastic novel. It is, first of all, it's set in Provence, which, what is more summery than that? And it is such an uplifting book about love and books and book lovers and just a young woman with an extraordinary gift. You will feel so good when you finish this book. It's just extremely uplifting. It's very inspiring. It's a wonderful read, and it transports you to a beautiful part of the world. The south of France is just lovely, and it just is so incredibly summery that I feel like I have to add this book to my list of books that feel like summer. The Little Village of Book Lovers by Nina George. Another recommendation that I have for you for a book to read this summer, or a book that feels like summer, is Thrush Green by Miss Reed. I love the Miss Reed novels. They are just so lovely. I don't know if you can hear Phoebe snoring. Phoebe! She's snoring in the background. Anyway, this is the story of life in a quaint English village. It is full of just delightful characters, wonderful descriptions. It's just literally a look at the simple aspect of life in an English village, and I love the Miss Green books. There are several of them. This happens to be the first one. This is Thrush Green. It's the first novel in the beloved Thrush Green series, and on the back this one says, Miss Reed's charming chronicles of small town life have achieved an almost legendary popularity worldwide, and they are well deserving of that popularity. If you have not discovered Miss Reed and the Thrush Green series or any of her books, I highly recommend that you check them out. I absolutely love them. And what is more summery than life in a small English village? Perhaps life in a small village in Provence, but both of them are pretty summery in my book. I would be remiss if I did not recommend a mystery as part of a whole list of books that feel like summer, because there's nothing better than reading a good mystery during the summertime. And what better mystery than one by the queen of crime herself, Agatha Christie. I recently picked up this really very cool copy of And Then There Were None at my local thrift store. It is, a black kind of leather-like binding with gold writing, and this is the Agatha Christie Mystery Collection version. I would love to collect as many of these as I could find. They're very cool. They have really pretty end papers on the inside with that stunning black and gold. Anyway, this is And Then There Were None, which was originally published as 10 Little Indians. I can remember seeing the 10 Little Indians book on my mother's bookshelf when I was a little girl. But this is a classic closed circle mystery. It follows 10 strangers who are invited to a secluded island. And then, of course, there is a murder and no one has come in or out. So it is up to the Scotland Yard detectives to figure out what happened, who was murdered, why, and who done it. And it is full of Agatha Christie's signature plot twists and turns and surprise endings. So A good mystery is hard to beat in the summer, and I recommend anything by Agatha Christie. And then my final recommendation is literally anything by Jane Austen, but most specifically, my favorite book for summer is Emma. Now, this is the gorgeous penguin in bloom version of the book, and with Jane Austen July now upon us, it seems only fitting that I start to delve into this. I have read this a couple of times, so this will be a reread for me, but I love this book. And there are a couple of scenes in this book that are just so simply evocative of summer. There's a picnic scene, there's a strawberry picking scene. Now, it does, have scenes from other seasons throughout the year, but those scenes are just so summery, and this is such a beautiful summary copy of this book that I had to add this to my list of books that feel like summer. And as I said, with Jane Austen July upon us, it is only fitting that I pull out one of my favorite Jane Austen novels. All right, well, that wraps up my list of books that feel like summer. There were many, many more that I could have added to the list, but I just wanted to talk about some of the ones that I turn to during the summertime to read, and hopefully that has encouraged you to check out something that you may not have read before. I would love to hear from you. What are your favorite summer reads? Go ahead and leave some suggestions down in the comment box below. And if you've gotten this far and you don't want to leave a comment, but you want to let me know that you're here, go ahead and leave a book emoji. That really does help out our channel so very much. And I want to say again, thank you to Miss Karen and Miss Chris for my lovely friend mail and for thinking of me. I am so appreciative of that. I will leave a few more books linked, not books, if I could leave them, I would. I will actually leave all of the books I talked about today linked in the description box, but I'll leave a couple of more videos on the screen that you can watch until our next upload, and as well as linked in the description box below. If you enjoyed this, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't, and please share it with anyone you think will enjoy this type of content. It really does help out our channel, and it lets us know, it lets YouTube know that you're enjoying what we're doing, and YouTube lets us know that we're doing the right thing and we're making content that appeals to people, and that's very gratifying for us. All right, everybody, that's going to do it for today. Take good care of yourselves, and I will see you in a new video very soon. Bye-bye.